Okay, I want to talk to you today about what causes self-sabotaging behavior. And I've got some ideas that I bet you haven't considered before. How is it we can do some amazing and sometimes unexplainable things, like heal our own bodies by the power of our thought? Mother's intuition, the law of attraction. Can we really tap into our subconscious mind? Can we really create our own realities? It begs the question, are we novice gods? Okay, we are talking about what causes self-sabotaging behavior. And I want to run through some ideas with you that you may not have considered before. They're new to me, and let's try these out, okay? So first of all, let's talk about, let me share just a couple of stories with you. I did some research on people who have won the lottery, okay? So, and you want to win the lottery, right? I mean, wouldn't you love to earn or to suddenly win $1 million or $10 million or 30 or whatever the Powerball is these days? And that seems like such a great thing. And anyway, it turns out that so often it's a horrible thing for people because they self-sabotage and they will start out winning a whole bunch of money and they will end up just right back where they were or worse. So let me share with you just a couple of stories, and you can go to the internet and it's easy to find more stories about people who totally self-sabotage. They self-destructed, their lives fell apart when they won a whole lot of money. So the first one that I will tell you about is, his name was Michael Carroll, and he was a garbage man, and at age 19, he won 9.7 million pounds. This is in Britain that he did this. So, that's like $14.4 million. That's a pretty good amount, right? You could hold on to $14.4 million for a while, right? Well, not him. Within 10 years, he was completely broke, and he ended up working working in a slaughterhouse for $511 a week. Absolutely broke. Goes back to working in a slaughterhouse. Well, how did that happen? How did he go from $14.4 million to absolute destitute circumstances? He's not alone. Let me tell you about Billy Bob Harrell. He was from Texas. He worked at Home Depot. And in 1997, he won $31 million. That's like twice what Michael made. $31 million. How long does it take you to blow through $31 million? Well, it turns out it took him only 2 years to blow through that. And not only did he blow through all that, he blew through his own life and became so depressed he ended up taking his life. So what is it that causes that to happen? How can they suddenly have such an influx of cash and then go right back to where they were? The secret is in our set point. So this is a super interesting concept that I've heard from a few people, and I think it's true. But what it is we have a set point in our life. Now, if you can see on the wall here, I have one of those fun Nest thermostats, and I can turn it up, and it'll turn on the heat. And what it is whenever the temperature drops below this, it'll turn on the heat and increase the temperature in the room up to where I set it. So if I have it set at 70, then it's gonna warm up the house using the heater up to 70. Well, if I had my air conditioner set up as well, when I turn it down, it will actually turn on the air conditioner so that it will cool the house down to whatever that set point is if it gets too much, too warm in the house. Anyway, I think that's what is happening in our own lives. We have this internal set point that we believe that we're only worth a certain amount. And so for these lottery winners, they believe they were only worth minimum wage, that they were only worth living a life where they worked paycheck to paycheck. And that when they won a whole bunch of money, it's like they did what they could subconsciously, of course, to get rid of all that money so they could get back to where they felt most comfortable, which is at this low set point. Isn't that kind of crazy? But I think that's what happens with us when we start self-sabotaging, is we have amazing things happen in our lives, but we have to self-sabotage in order to get back to kind of this standard of worthiness or worth in our lives where we feel like we only have this much value. So anyway, I bet you haven't ever considered that before. It's kind of an interesting thought, isn't it? So if we look at some of the things that we do to self-sabotage, holding on to self-defeating mindsets, failing to take action could be something that we do. If we were to list out, a whole bunch of self-sabotaging behaviors, failing to take action would definitely be one of them. How often we have this great idea that we should do and we don't follow through on it. Maybe overeating is on your list. Maybe forced incompetence, where you don't allow yourself to learn the things that you know that you should learn. Numbing is something that comes up over and over and over again with self-defeating behaviors. This is where you drink alcohol too much, you or get involved in drugs or shopping or playing on the internet or porn or watching TV too much. Anything that you do to numb yourself so that you don't feel those pains of discomfort of, I don't feel quite right now. Numbing is this huge thing that we do to hide from ourselves. And of course, perfectionism is another self-sabotaging behavior. One of the behaviors that comes up over and over again that holds us back from living the life that we could really do. Now, I want to talk kind of about three main causes to self-sabotaging. So three main causes that really bring about our self-sabotaging behavior. The first thing is discouragement. I think the biggest challenge we have in life is to stay encouraged. Discouragement just wrecks us. It's not depression so much in our lives that ruins us. It's not having a sense of purpose and feeling worthless. And that discouragement, feeling that you can't do something, that you're not worthwhile, those kinds of things just absolutely wrecks our self-confidence and does start us into self-sabotaging behavior. So what you want to do is you want to be able to increase your worth, your value. You want to see yourself as somebody who is worthwhile. So the second one that I was going to talk about is low self-esteem. Having, this low perception about yourself, this identity that you've created. We're creators, that you've created about yourself where you don't feel worthwhile, you don't feel worthy, you don't feel good enough. That low self-esteem is going to self-sabotage you all the time. You need to be able to change the thermostat up. You need to be able to turn that up and get rid of these feelings of low self-esteem. And then the third thing is, of course, not having a clear purpose. If you're going through life and you don't feel like you have purpose, you don't have meaning, you don't have, a reason that you're here, you don't have a mission, a calling, you don't have a contribution to make, that is going to totally wreck your self-confidence, your belief about yourself, your identity. You're going to be discouraged and you are going to exhibit a lot of self-sabotaging behavior. Okay, so that gives you kind of an understanding of the elements that go into self-sabotaging behavior and why you keep getting in the same rut over and over and over again. By the way, I'm doing the same thing right now. I'm in the same rut and I'm working to get over it. But so much of it comes from identifying current beliefs, where we're at, and then changing some things so that just like on that Nest thermostat, so that when we turn it up, we're turning it up ourselves, and each incremental degree that we go up, we believe we're worthy. We believe we're worth this. We believe this is true to us. And so we can set whatever temperature we want. We can have lots of money. We can have abundance. We can have friends. So many people self-sabotage relationships where they get in the same relationship over and over and over again, abusive relationships with men that are unkind. So often this happens, and why is that? Why do we get into these repeated cycles? I think it's because our set point is set too low, and the low self-esteem, the discouragement, the no clear purpose in our lives is what's keeping us down. So the way to get out of it, I believe, and I'm working on it, and this whole documentary series is documenting the challenge and the the journey really of turning that thermostat up to a temperature that I've chosen, that you've chosen, that we all want to get to, that is a more abundant, more fulfilling life, one with great relationships, one with abundant money, one with opportunities to travel, opportunities to serve, opportunities to make a contribution. I believe that we have that ability to turn up our thermostats. And if we don't turn it up manually, by ourselves, intentionally, deliberately, then no matter what happens in your life that's fortunate, whether you're winning the lottery, whether you just married a wonderful woman, it's going to go back to where it was because you have these set point beliefs about yourself that are not serving you. So what I hope you do is I hope you stick with me through this documentary series. I hope you learn what I learn. I hope you start applying some of these beliefs so that you can be more of your true best full self, that you can turn up that temperature, that you can be who you want to be by choice, deliberately, intentionally, and enjoy the abundance that God has in store for you. What do you think? You've heard my thoughts. Now let's hear yours. In the comment section below, share what impressions came to your mind. What did you get out of this? If you have had thoughts to take action, please do so. Always listen to your inner voice. It's your ultimate guidance system. Of course, the best place to take action is at scottwilhite.com, because if you join me for a free web class, I will reward you by sending you my purpose planner so you can have a physical guide to help you get in touch with your inner guide. What if you are a God in the making? That would mean there's purpose to your life, meaning to your challenges. You have a great work to do. May you have the courage, faith, and power to become who you were truly meant to be. See you next time.